Hey, yo, welcome back. This is episode 359 of the Late Night Vision Show. I am one half of your co host. My name is Jason Robertson, owner of Outdoor Legacy. And for the past 358 episodes, my co host, partner in crime, has been Mr. Hans from the Hans East Texas YouTube channel. What's going on tonight, sir?
And speaking of the best thermal company to buy your optic from, thank you, Jason.
I don't
Please,
remember saying that, but this is a great time for a
please call
commercial.
Outdoor
Yes.
Legacy at 877-350-1818, outdoorlegacy.com. This is what Jason and I, other than being your co-hosts for the last 360 weeks, our main thing that we have to do, that our wives kick us out of bed every day to do, is to go and sell thermal scopes and night vision scopes. So we are happy to take your questions. We know, and I think I said on a video recently, Jason, I don't really expect you to watch this video and immediately click over to Outdoor Legacy and buy it, which that'd be awesome. Calling us, talking about scopes, talking about what your situations are, what's going to be right for you, and we would love to earn your business. So give us a call, 877-350-1818. Jason, we have another review. We've got the AGM Adder V2 640. I think I got all the numbers and letters right, didn't I?
So yeah, let me get into these real quick. So the AGM Adder original models, now we would call those V1s, version ones. You're not going to see that, in the naming of them generally because it wasn't there. There were multiple models, very, very popular scopes for AGM. These are in their 30 millimeter tube design, so great for bolt action style rifles, great for ARs as well. But now AGM has come out, SHOT Show 2025, with their Adder V2, the version 2, and that's just an upgrade across the whole line. In one thing that was not available in any of the previous Adders was a laser rangefinder. Now that is available in every model. So when we've got our 384 resolution version, there's two scopes, but it's essentially the same scope. It's going to be a 384 4-power base magnification with and without a laser rangefinder. Okay, so you get to choose which one you want, with it or without it. Then when we move into the 640 options, there are two scopes. We've got the 35 640 that is a 2.5 power with a laser rangefinder. We've got the 50 640 with a laser rangefinder. We're reviewing that one today. We've also got the 1280 ultra high resolution with a laser rangefinder. And so lots of options. There's some cool things, though, I do want to mention about the laser rangefinder, and this is going to be on these 640s that are especially this one we're reviewing today. The laser rangefinder is built into the lens, and I'll be showing you that in just a little bit. But so some questions come up of, hey, I've got a V1. What is really the difference in these version 2s? Is it just the laser rangefinder? So just a quick rundown. What you're getting is an upgrade in image quality. It's a new sensor from top to bottom, whether it's a 384, whether it's a 640, better image quality, sharper, crisper, clearer image, a lower millikelvin rating. Also, you're getting a very big 2560 by 2560 ultra high resolution display screen. That is becoming very common in the industry. We love them. Just a great big display screen in the back. Again, high resolution. Also, you are getting an 18650 battery usage. So there is a fully removable, rechargeable 18650 battery that you can now plug into, or not plug in, but stick into the side of the scope under a battery cap. Also, this is a first for AGM. They have never had a 640 resolution thermal optic or thermal scope, I should say anyway, that had over a 2.5 power base magnification. This is the change for that. So now the 35 millimeter model is a 2.5, and this 50 we're reviewing today is a 3.5 power. So that was a complaint that a lot of coyote hunters and longer range guys were like, man, 2.5's not quite enough for me. And AGM said, fine, we're not just going to go to a 3, we're going to go to a 3.5. And it is absolutely fantastic. We will be talking about that. So just basically, in a nutshell, you got a lot of upgrades between the V1 and the V2. Again, display screen, image quality, 18650 batteries, laser rangefinders, higher magnification. That's what people are wanting. So there's a whole lot in this package. Hans,
Yeah.
why don't you go ahead and jump into the specs? We'll do the walk around in just a minute. I've got the scope here. I'll kind of show you some stuff.
Yeah, we're going to roll through these, and we do have a bunch of thermal videos. So if you're listening in the car, you want to see what the picture image looks like, hop on over to YouTube and check it out. So the price, this again is the AGM Adder V2 640. Price on it's $4,795. It's a 640 by 512 thermal resolution sensor, 12 micron, 50 hertz refresh rate, minus 15 millikelvin NETD thermal sensitivity sensor. Starts at 3.5 power, goes to 26 power. It does have a 46-foot field of view at 100 yards. The ID range, you know, Jason, this is one of the only scopes I looked on there, and they don't show a detection range. And I'm like, you know what?
Really?
Good. Who cares anyway?
Good.
So
Who cares?
I would say
Exactly.
ID range.
We're going to skip that.
Yeah,
for now.
ID range on a smaller animal like a coyote, because it is a higher base magnification, I would say 500 to 600 yards conservatively on a small animal like a coyote. A larger animal, hog or deer, is going to be further than that. Jason already mentioned the 2560 by 2560 OLED display. It is a little over an inch in size, that display screen size. So big, beautiful image. Tell people all the time, once you go to it, you're not going to want to go back to anything else. Color modes, it does have black hot, white hot, red hot, fusion, red monochrome, green monochrome, and also has picture-in-picture display. Video and audio, Wi-Fi to the AGM Connect app. It does have bullet calculations. It does have two internal 18650 batteries, and on the two internal batteries, those are non-removable, you're going to get around 6.5 hours of runtime in good weather, good conditions. When we do our test, it's the scope sitting continuously running in an office at office temperature. So 6.5 hours runtime on the two internal batteries. One removable 18650 batteries, you're going to get 3 hours, a little over 3 hours of runtime there. So all three batteries combined, you're going to get 9 to 10 hours of runtime in good conditions. It weighs 2.5 pounds. When you say it like that, it seems like a lot, but we'll talk about the size, and that's a positive. Temperature rating, minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 131 degrees Fahrenheit. And it does come with a 5-year AGM warranty. Their facilities, they have a few of them. One in Texas, one in Florida, one in Arizona. So if you do have a warranty issue, a warranty concern, if there's something wrong with it, that optic would actually be repaired in one of their facilities here in the United States. If you have to have the internal, a lot of people ask about internal batteries. You know, they're concerned about the fact that they're not removable. A battery swap out, although very, very rare, can be done with any of these scopes on these internal batteries in their facilities here in the United States. So they make the process very easy.
I'm going to do a quick walk around of this scope. I'm going to try to show you here. We'll start at the front, and let's see if you can see this. You really can't see it well. Right there is your laser rangefinder that is built into the lens. So there is, again, from the outside, you can't tell that it's got a laser rangefinder, but it is there. This is a metallic or metal lens cap, and it, as you can see, it does hinge right there. Moving backwards, I do have it in the American Defense mount. You will see this says Outdoor Legacy. This is the mount that we sell. This is not their mount, but it is exactly like this. It just says AGM right there instead of Outdoor Legacy. Identical mount. Over here, this turret cover does not come off. There's nothing underneath there. So in some of the older models of V1 that came off, it does not. Up top, this is where you zoom, so you can zoom up in small increments. You can also press this and get into your menu. Then moving on back right here, underneath this little rubber piece, that is your USB-C port. That's where you can plug this into your computer to remove videos, also where you charge the internal batteries or run an external USB battery pack if you want to. Back here, this is your diopter focus. This means that this is how you focus the display screen to your eye. This is the removable eye cup, and it is on here good. I don't think you're going to lose that. Rolling it over just like this. These are your buttons. You've got a very simple power button, and then you've got two buttons back here. One is going to be zoom, one is going to be laser rangefinder. Flipping this scope around, basically same exact thing, except this side right here, that you're going to unscrew this, and that is where your 18650 battery is going to go into. Right here, these are the batteries that AGM ships with it, and you will get two of those batteries. So as Hans mentioned, on the battery runtime, I completed that 6.5 hours on the internal batteries, 3 hours and 15 minutes on the removable. But remember, you get two removables. So out of the box, a total runtime you would be looking at is, what did I just say? 6.5, well, 6.5 times 2, 13 hours of total runtime. Again, that's perfect conditions. In the field, you may get a little bit less, but really like that. So that is the walk around on the scope. Hans, let's go ahead and, we'll move into some of our discussion on it. When it comes to dislikes, I'm just going to move into this and we'll start talking about the likes, and I want to talk about the weight and some of that. But on the dislikes, I really don't have much. There's one thing, and this is a trend that we're seeing with a lot of these optics that have a rounded display screen in there. And this scope has that. We really do like that. It's a high resolution. It looks cool. So it's rounded on the sides. I like it. It's pleasing to the eye. Nothing wrong with that at all. But what I kind of don't like, and Hans, I think you're going to agree with this, I'm kind of freelancing here, is that when you pull those videos off of your scope via to your computer or your phone, they're still rounded on the sides. Yeah. And so if you're watching our videos, here on YouTube from the scope, you kind of see that. It's not the end of the world, but I just feel like I can't blow it up as much because it's rounded. It's not a perfect rectangle like my screen, whether I'm watching on a computer, iPad, iPhone, whatever it is. So I don't know. I like it when I'm hunting with it, but it kind of annoys me when I'm watching the videos. What do you say to that, Hans?
Yeah, not just watching it from an editing standpoint, because I'm putting all these clips together. It is a little bit, I don't know. I think as far as the viewing experience, I know it's not brand new. We're experiencing this with some other scopes as well.
Correct.
But it kind of makes me wish the old days when it was just a rectangle image or even a square image at this point. But yeah, I mean, it's a minor inconvenience when it comes to editing. If you're putting these on social media or on YouTube, you're making your own YouTube videos, I feel like when you see the black on the sides, it's just like, oh man, to me it doesn't look great, but I guess there's not much you can do with that.
Again, I want to make the point, this is not just AGM. We're seeing this in all of the scopes that are coming out with the rounded sides, which again, I really do like that experience. I just don't think it looks that great on the videos. But so again, if you're not going to be a content creator and posting stuff all over YouTube, then it doesn't really matter. Right. I know you've got a lot of things you want to talk about in your likes here. I see some notes.
Yeah.
I want to talk about a couple quick things. One is, I think the biggest like for me is probably got to be the fact that this is currently, we're reviewing this in March of 2025, by far the least expensive 640 3-power or higher magnification laser range finding scope on the market. This scope is $47.95, and all of its competition from the major brands that we would say this scope literally competes with are $5,500. And so you're talking about an $800 price difference looking at this scope versus the other top quality brands that are 3 powers. This is a 3.5, so that's actually a little bit of a benefit to this scope, especially for coyote hunters and guys shooting longer ranges. Again, ballistic calculator, all those things in it. So the price to me is phenomenal. With the American Defense mount, everything you're getting, and the 3.5 power. And that's a huge thing. That's going to be another like I want to comment here. is I already said this from the beginning, but AGM was really struggling with a lot of the predator hunters and even hog hunters that just shoot a little longer range, wanted that extra magnification, and they were topping out at a 2.5 power in their 640s. And so when we heard they were going to come out with a 3.5, we were super pumped, and they delivered. Image quality is great. The only other thing I wanted to mention is the weight. And compared to the other competition that I was just kind of referring to, most of those scopes are coming in at a little over 3 pounds, around, well, let me do some math here. We said this one was 2.5. You should not do
40,
math on the fly.
40
This is
ounces.
about 40 ounces. Most of its competitors with the mount and with the battery are coming around between 50 to 53 ounces. So you're talking about a half a pound would be 8 ounces. You're talking about 3/4 to almost a pound lighter for a full setup, putting it on the rifle. I know a lot of people are concerned about weight, and I've had several guys say, "Man, I can't look at some of these other scopes because they're over 3 pounds.
Right.
I just can't do that."
Yeah.
Well, I think you need to look hard at these Adder V2s. Hans,
Yeah.
I know I just kind of took over there for a minute, but those are my likes.
Yeah.
What do you got? I know you got a big list as well.
So you kind of mentioned a little bit, this scope really is important for AGM because it does, like you said, move it up into more friendly spaces for you coyote hunters out there. It also now they have a tube style scope with a built-in laser rangefinder, which that they didn't have before. So it's kind of, they're making some moves and they're adjusting some magnifications like we've seen with some other manufacturers as well. But the laser rangefinder, that's getting to be more and more popular, more common on optics, and more choices out there on the market. So that's a good thing. Picture image is very good. You mentioned the price. Coming out at $47.95. It's significantly less expensive, but still great picture image on it. I think with that 3.5 power, we'll talk a little bit about who it's good for, but it does give you some longer range shooting capabilities with that 3.5 to 26 power. Right out of the box, you're looking at somebody average shooting distance, I would say close to 150 yards and further. With that, the large display, the 2560 display that we've already mentioned a few times, the ADM mount, the American Defense Manufacturing mount that AGM has included in with most, if not all, of their scopes for many, many years. That has been a big positive and a big win for them from the very beginning. So those, along with what Jason rounded out, I think you've got a scope at the end of the day that offers a lot of value for the money. $4,800, all the features that we listed for somebody that can take it out, go do some predator hunting, coyote hunting, and it's a big move for AGM, Jason.
Yeah, I agree. One more small thing. This is really small, and I want to mention this because I actually used this as a negative last year on a review of one of the newer AGMs. I think it might have been the Rattler V2. It's funny how things change, and now I see it as a positive. And so I wanted to say that I think I spoke too soon. I said something was a negative. Now I'm going to call it a positive. So, even I make mistakes. Do not tell my wife, Amanda. She will not believe it. So there's no need in telling her that. She knows that I don't make mistakes. But what it is, and this is very, very simple. This doesn't matter to most people. But most scopes now, when you go to turn them off, you press the power button and you hold it. And you'll see a countdown timer. 3, 2, 1. And if you let go of that countdown or that power button at any time during that countdown, even in the last millisecond, it puts the scope into a standby mode and it does not go off, or it just comes right back up. It's not, the shutdown sequence is canceled. And so something that Hans and I deal with a lot is getting phone calls from guys that say, "Hey, my scope is running down. I put it in the gun safe. I get it out the next day and the battery's dead." And we go, "What are you talking about? What's going on?" Well, what we figure out is they're releasing that power button 1 second too soon, and the scope is still on, and they think that it's off. And again, it happens to me. Well, the way AGM is doing it in their newer models, you don't just press the power button. You have to press and hold. Once you hold it for, let's say a second and a half, it starts the shutdown sequence, and you get I think it starts at like 5, 5, 4, 3. Well, during that time, if you press any other button, it shuts that sequence down. So if you accidentally hit it and it starts shutting down, all you got to do is press that button again, or any button, and it stops it. I complained about that on the Rattler V2s because I said, man, I'll get out there and accidentally press the button and it starts shutting down. I didn't realize at the time that I could press another button and end that. So now that I really understand how that works, and we've been using these for now a year, and now these Adder V2s, I like it, and here's why. When I start that shutdown sequence, I can walk away from the scope. I can walk away, and I know it's going off. I run into this now on other scopes because I'm getting used to that on these AGMs.
Yeah.
Another brand I had out the other day, and I thought I shut it down. 3, 2, 1. Set it there on top of my gun safe. It was a handheld binocular. I walked away, came back 30 minutes later, and I heard that little familiar click, click. And that was the calibration inside the scope. And I'm looking around. I got scopes everywhere. I'm like, which one is this? And I was like, wait a minute. I was using that when I picked it up, and it was in standby. So this is very, very minor. It's not a big deal, but I thought that I wanted to bring it up because I did say that I thought it was a negative before. Now I love it. I think it's a very, very small thing, but it lets me know that that scope is completely shut off, and I'm not going to be burning the batteries when it's sitting in the gun safe or in the truck or in the case or whatever. So I do like that.
How many times does that happen where you say something in one show is a negative and it turns around, and you're reviewing the upgraded scope and it's a positive? That's kind of
exactly
fun.
Yeah.
So
it just shows you it takes a lot of use with these optics. I'll say this real quick. I don't want to drag this out. Hans and I and Garrett that works with us, we struggle with the button layouts on a lot of these scopes. And the reason is it's not that they're hard, it's that I'll just tell you all this. I had 13 different optics sitting on top of my gun safe and on top of our dresser and our bedroom because I grab these things and I go out and use them at night. I had 13 different optics from multiple different brands, and that's just at one time last week because my wife was like, I'm trying to dust. I've got to move all these things.
Right.
And so we struggle because we don't keep one of these optics necessarily and use it the only scope we use for 2, 3, 4 months. We're constantly rotating through, and at one time I'll have this AGM, I'll have another brand, another model, and so we don't get that muscle memory. Now we do after the Adder V2. After we've had 4 of them, you're kind of like, okay, yeah, but we're not using them enough to remember. So I know sometimes I will feel like, what button is that? I'm always pressing the wrong button. And then I tell you, oh, no, it's easy. Well, I mean that. Because if that's the scope you use every time, it's going to be easy.
Oh, yeah.
But if it's just like us picking these things up, and so sometimes I feel like we have to use them a pretty good bit to really get a good feel for those buttons and what the layout is. And I like this layout. It's a 3-button layout. Like I said, the power button, it's the largest button across the front. Your 2 smaller buttons, left and right, it's going to be your laser rangefinder on the right, and left's going to be the video recording button. So, I mean, I like that. It's simple. But, Hans, let's talk about, kind of overall thoughts and who this is good for. I know I've hammered pretty hard, and I think you have too, on just the fact this higher magnification, but it's exciting to me because I know that, talking to so many people over the years, 3 power is kind of a sweet spot where people want to be. And 2.5 sounds a little low for a lot of people. Not everybody, but for a lot of hunters it does. So now having a 3.5, I think this really expands on what the capabilities are and who could buy the scope.
Yeah, I think there's people out there that are saying, is this scope right for me? And I think there's some considerations you need to keep in mind, not just for buying this scope, really buying any optic, thermal or night vision. What kind of rifle platform you're going to be putting this on, the areas that you're hunting, whether it be close, small fields in the woods or in bigger, wide open fields. And also your budget. So what I would say, if you are in the market for an optic and you are either primarily a bolt action rifle shooter, or you want an optic that you can take back and forth from an AR style rifle to a bolt action rifle, I think the Adder does check that box. If you are somebody that is hunting mostly in wide open fields, I would say, or if your average shooting distance is around 150 yards and further, maybe a little bit less, but in that 125, 150 yard and over average, I do think that this checks that box as well. When I say open fields, if you're in a deer blind and you're shooting at a feeder, 100, 150 yards away, it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that's hiking out and making sets, for coyote hunting. It could be anything. But if your average shooting distance is over that 125, 150 yard mark, a 3.5 power will be good. And if you're wondering why is that the case, you got to really find a good balance between magnification and field of view. So you do want a wide enough field of view where you're hunting, where you don't feel like you've got a bunch of blind spots, or if you're looking down a paper towel roll, you want to have a wide enough field of view that you can kind of scan and get a lay of the land, or you're not having coyotes run in from the side of you that you're missing. But also you want to have enough magnification that you can take a good clean shot in most situations without having using the magnification. If you want to learn more about that, Jason and I did a show. It's resolution versus magnification, and we've gotten a lot of positive feedback on that show, so go check that out if you're wondering what type of base magnification you need versus the field of view. That show might be very helpful for you. So if you're wanting somebody, if you're coyote hunting or doing some other type of hunting close to 150 yards and over, I think it checks the box. If you're looking for an optic sub $5,000, a good optic with a built-in laser rangefinder and ballistics, with a good mount, with a good warranty, and like I said, your budget's in that under $5,000 price range, I do think it checks that box as well. So I think, like we said, we've talked about it quite a bit. It does move AGM. They've done a couple things, Jason. They've changed the magnifications on these 640 adders. But they also put out that 1280 Evolver, that 1280 Evolver thermal scope. So they're making some moves upwards, and I do know that they are not just going for the higher end crowd, but also going for your everyday predator and coyote hunter.
Yeah, I want to real quick say this, and this is going to be obvious to a lot of people, but to others that are newer to this, it may not be, and I should have brought this up. I think this is a mistake that I made earlier. This American Defense mount that's on here, that's included in the box, that's not just a nice single piece quick detach mount. That is, in our opinion, the best mount on the market for this style of scope. We think that American Defense, they're American-made, lifetime warranty. They make the greatest mounts. They work with almost every thermal manufacturer, all the quality ones anyway, making mounts for their optics. That is a $240 mount. Okay, so this isn't an OEM mount. There's some other brands that are kind of copying some of these ADM mounts, and they're making their own stuff, and whatever. I'm not saying they're bad mounts, but they're not an American Defense mount. And if you use them and you know the difference, you can tell it. And so with this value, this is not just a scope and a mount. It's a scope and a $240 mount. So I think that just really adds to the value that AGM is offering. So overall, I agree with everything Hans said. I do think there's going to be some people that may be like, man, I don't know if I need that magnification. That might be where this TS35 640 with the laser rangefinder for, again, the same exact scope, just 2.5 power, lower magnification might be right for you. And if you're not sure, that's when I would say you need to give us a call. We want to do business with you. And if you would like to do business with Hans and I and support this show, Hans was kind of joking there earlier when he started, and he said, what we do most of the time, is Outdoor Legacy selling scopes. We make $0 from the Late Night Vision show. All right, we're doing this. This channel's not monetized. We don't get any ad revenue. We are here to help you figure out which optic that you need and will be right for you. And the continuation of that is calling us at Outdoor Legacy if you want to purchase your scope from us. If you got someone else you want to purchase it from, talk to them. I'm sure they can help you. But if you want our hands-on experience of not just this scope, not just the 35 640, but all of the scopes from the quality brands that we sell that are on the market today, and even being able to compare a lot of that to, you know, the older models from these same companies. We are glad to help. We want your business, and we want to make sure you're getting every ounce, every dollar you spend. We want to make sure that you're getting the most bang for the buck, value for the dollar, because the very worst thing is having buyer's remorse after you spend this kind of money. So I just want to say, call us, go to the website. If you already know that's what you want, outdoorlegacy.com or 877-350-1818.
So we have more reviews, more AGM reviews coming up, a lot more, because AGM is notorious for putting out many, many optics. So we have another, like you said, another 640 resolution V2 adder. We've got a couple 384 resolution AGM adders. We've got, oh gosh, who knows, a ton
1280
of
adder.
1280.
That's coming soon.
We've got the Reach IR. That we need to get to hopefully sometime down the road. We will work that in. That's a monocular. But anyway, we appreciate you joining us here, right here at the Late Night Vision Show. Jason's already mentioned where to go find the products if you are interested in doing so. Also, if you want to find out more about the Late Night Vision Show, we are on all the socials with Facebook, Instagram. We do have a dedicated website, thelatenightVisionShow.com, where you can go and check out all the past episodes. Or, as always, you can do that on YouTube as well. If you're looking for a specific show, I found that the easiest thing to do is probably just to go to YouTube and type in, you know, the Late Night Vision Show and then whatever scope you're looking for. If you're looking for Outdoor Legacy, outdoorlegacy.com. Also, you can go to Instagram and Facebook on the socials, also on YouTube with me. You can go to Instagram and Facebook, Hans ETX, and on YouTube, HANSETX, just like Hans, East Texas, and you will find all of my videos. I usually do the reviews a little while after we do the reviews right here on the Late Night Vision Show, just to have a chance to work on some other things. So we are very much appreciative of you allowing us to do this every week and be part of your experience and your research and your journey. So we look forward to bringing you the next show, episode 360 next week. We appreciate it. We'll see y'all soon.